7 presidential candidates from whom Ugandans will choose their 10th president this Thursday. Presidential aspirant Lieutenant General Henry Tumukunde received divine blessings from several born-again faith leaders with success wishes come election day. Tumukunde attended the Requiem Mass for Reverend Canon Charles Tuyahabwe at All Saints Church in Kampala and lauded the deceased for the diligent service towards the church with utmost transparency. Contrary to public depicts, Tumukunde appreciated effort by Uganda's health practitioners in trying to save the life of the deceased.
Away from the orange camp, we now head to the blues. That is Forum for Democratic Change, FDC, party presidential candidate Patrick Oboy Amriat was Monday afternoon arrested at Katwe police station in Chibuye and later released after 2.5 hours. Police intercepted him around Kabaka and Jagala Road and Kabaka's Palace entrance. Amriat had just received a non-cash bail of 5 million from PG Magistrates Court during mention of cases of traffic and Road Safety Act offense. He was taken to Katwe police station. Patrick Oboy Amriat had just been given bail at Mpigi, but later he was told to follow all the conditions set properly by court to avoid another arrest.
Hiccups after hiccups as we have about 48 hours for Uganda to decide its next president, but Uganda's 2021 general election is officially underway with special interest groups. The process in areas like Nansana has witnessed several hiccups, climaxing with exchanges between Electoral Commission officials and residents. Election of councillors for older persons, councillors for people with disabilities, and election of youth representatives to sub-county, town council, municipal and division started yesterday. In Nansana, trouble loomed during the election for people with disability, with questions over why names were handwritten rather than typed. This wasn't helped by the fact that it was reported that even those without national identification cards were free to vote, a situation that led to verbal exchanges that degenerated into physical assault. As if this was not trouble enough, some of the candidates were denied access to vote, a move many cited as a pathway to rigging. According to People with Disabilities Councillor David Chitego, all these problems are as a result of lack of thorough voting education. Trouble was aggravated further when the youth elections, many voters' names were missing from the register, but despite the trouble, elections were able to proceed with candidates making promises of what to deliver if elected.
Still on 2021 general elections, the High Court in Kampala dismissed an application in which City Lord Mayor Elias Lukwago was challenging a ban on election campaigns in 15 districts. According to Justice Musa Sekana, the deputy head of the Civil Division of High Court, while dismissing Lukwago's application, said that the Electoral Commission was legally right to deny the applicant Lukwago fair hearing as it was trying to stop the spread of a deadly disease, COVID-19. Justice Sekana added that the Electoral Commission was justifiable enough not to accord a hearing since it was acting in an emergency. The applicant, Elias Lukwago, said he wasn't satisfied, but that is what court had ruled.
Indeed, the courts of law have been busy and they will continue to be busy even throughout the election process for 2021 as Uganda decides. The judiciary has pledged to expedite election petition cases that may arise after the election at various levels. This was revealed by Johnson Kalemani, the judiciary spokesperson, while addressing journalists at Uganda Media Center. According to Kalemani, judges have been undergoing training on how best to dispose of such petitions to avoid backlog. Quite often, post-election process is dominated by numerous court petitions filed by aggrieved parties in the presidential, parliamentary and district local elections. These normally overwhelm the courts, thus relegating the concept of speedy dispensation of justice to being only a byword. However, the judiciary says that they are upbeat to handle the many election petitions that may arise in time. Judiciary spokesperson Johnson Kalemani also told journalists that a specified time frame has been set aside to deal with these many cases. The judiciary has also recruited many more judges who will be posted to various courts across the country to expedite the dispensation of the justice process.
Very interesting stories there, and we see people still lack enough knowledge, according to what we witnessed yesterday regarding elections, the procedures. There's so much that people do not know. I witnessed a situation where people were fighting because a person who doesn't have a voter allocation slip is allowed to vote. So they thought that was rigging. But this person is in the register. All the information.
That had a vote, an allocation slip, or did not have?
He didn't have any.
Okay.
But his name was on the register. So they felt this is rigging. If you don't have a national ID, if you do not have a voter allocation slip, why are you being allowed to vote? Yet,
but a voter's slip is not what mandates you to vote. So it's the by the way. But anyway, this is where we find out about these things in My Vote, My Choice. When it comes to Mr. Felix Nkunda, what is the fate of this voter slip? Because people may be using it as an excuse to stop Ugandans from voting. Is that the case? Does it actually matter for you to have this slip?
No, well, we have had this conversation before, and clearly even Justice Biabakama came out to clarify that this is simply an identification that helps you locate where exactly you'll be casting your vote, and not in any way supposed to qualify you as a voter. So the only requirement, I think the primary requirement, is that you are on the register and you can prove that you're the one. That's where I think your colleague or your friend Robert faulted, that they didn't have any form of identification to qualify them that they are that person on the register. That's why they ask you to carry yourself a national identification. So, voter slip, no. Voter allocation slip is not a qualifier, and many people...
No national identification, you must also put it very clear, still you qualify to vote. As long as they can prove, that biometric machines can prove there's a picture of yours, and they can identify that that is you, go and vote. Without any of that too, as long as you're in the register, you still vote.
But let's look at the case of Nelson, as we've just checked out the stories in the last 12 hours, whereby people did not have national IDs and they were still allowed to vote. Some were not appearing on the registrar, but they were still allowed to vote. Isn't this going to cause a lot of challenges, Felix?
Well, of course, it depends. As Robert said, there's a biometric machine. Without an identification, if it can identify you to be the one on that registration, voter registration slip or something, as long as you can identify yourself in that realm, I think, and I know for a fact, that you have a right to go ahead and vote. That's why they carry those biometric machines.
Well, the Election Hub is here to give you 24 hours coverage of the 2021 general elections from UBC. Priscilla Nalunga, Robert Tiravo, Felix Nkunda, and the entire newsroom here at UBC will be giving you live updates. You can also get these updates on our social media platforms. On Twitter, our handle is @UBC TV Uganda, and for every second, every minute, and every day, we're going to be giving you these updates. Hashtag is UBC Polls 2021.
Felix, take us through what is happening on the international scene.
Well, of course, it's still a lot of mayhem there in the USA, as the attack on the Capitol last week has become quite a topic to discuss. Most recently, we are also seeing now the FBI is warning of possibilities of armed protests being held across the US in the days before Joe Biden gets swearing in as president. Now, there are reports of armed groups planning to gather at all 50 states' capitals and in Washington, D.C. in the run-up to this 20th January inauguration there. And fears come as security plans are hardened, even harder for those people who are trying the same. Now, on Monday, Joe Biden told reporters he was not afraid to take oath of office outside the U.S. Capitol, but both Vice President and President and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris are still expected to be sworn in outside the building only 2 weeks after it was the site of a deadly raid by radical supporters of Donald Trump. And security officials are also resolute that there will be no repeat of the breach that happened on the 6th of January, and they are also saying they are going to take charge of the situation and endeavor that their country shall stay in the stature of its deservancy. Now in the story, we'll be looking at Cuba placed back on U.S. terrorism sponsor list. That is, the U.S. has placed Cuba back on its list of states sponsoring terrorism, citing its communist country backing Venezuela. Now, President Donald Trump, his administration, made this announcement days before he leaves the White House. And President-elect Joe Biden, who takes office on the 20th, has previously said he wants to improve U.S. and Cuban relations. Now, Cuba called the move a political opportunism by Donald Trump. Of course, him being blamed, the country being blamed for having given support to their Nicolas Maduro against Juan Guaido in Venezuela, and having castigated some of the riots and the injuries onto the people of Venezuela. Now, if you come back on African continent, President Cyril Ramaphosa did address the nation yesterday on COVID-19. Also talking about the many other things that are happening around it, like lockdown, the economy, and the projections as they do start a new year. It is also anticipated that one of the most hit countries on African continent is South Africa, and the effect has to be addressed urgently by the state, and that's why the president had to come out and make mention of where they stand and where they hope to go in terms of treating and stopping this deadly virus in South Africa. Yes, Robert.
Very interesting stories there. More so America, the founders of democracy, for long the big brothers. What is happening? Well, they have placed themselves there. America has tried to fix itself somewhere on this planet, but actually they are the authors of democracy.
And what we did have democracy in Uganda before even, the white man came and put borders and made it Uganda, Kenya, what? I'm pretty sure we had our own version of democracy. But did you really have democracy
where leadership was based on, you just inherit leadership? Is that democracy? You had no choice.
Well, did it not work? Is it not still working? It's still working and the system is still functioning. That enough should be testimony that since time memorial, this system of us has worked.
Okay, but Priscilla, let me first give you a cup.
Yes,
let me just give you some of this.
Thank you very much.
This morning I've been enjoying it, and I feel, well, something has to be left for me.
Yeah, but Robert, you take these things every single day. You take a carton.
Priscilla, it is me to determine how much
no, I also determine. I ever say these things. I can be Nancy Kalembe in this picture here, yes.
Okay, do not miss to get yourself, hallelujah, Jingati drink or hallelujah, turmeric drink as we gear up for elections. Just 48 hours to that, so that you're fit enough to line up. We could have longer queues this time because of social distancing, and you can stand for that period of time before you get actually to cast your vote. Hallelujah, Jingati drink boosts your immune system. There are also so many benefits when you take this, because there is portable water, fresh ginger, sucrose, nettle powder, rosemary powder, and an acidity regulator there for you. But it's also been certified by Uganda National Bureau of Standards. So it's a healthy drink that you can take and you're
And there's also a Nkoge version, what people call tamarind in Luzungu. Trust you me, I looked for this tamarind in Uganda for many, many years. But thanks to, Bubu, we can get to know these things in Uganda. So Nkoge. And the health benefits are very interesting. Blood pressure maintenance, cholesterol level management, body detoxifier, weight management, wink, wink. Skin cleansing, among other benefits that you can enjoy if you choose to take this product every single day of your life. Trust you me, it takes one step, and one step will lead to a mile, and a mile will lead to a journey, and eventually you'll get to the desired place that you want, especially in terms of health. While we are dealing with COVID-19, my people, my fellow Ugandans, very, 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 very essential that you take care of yourselves. But people are heading to the villages because some of those that are voting
registered voters in the
are registered voters in the villages. Let's talk about transport. Let's talk about how soon people need to get into the villages, because there's a lot of unsettlement already. Just on my way to work, people are, talking about the fact that any time now, if you're not in your house by the time by the end of tomorrow night, basically, you just need to stop and stay wherever you are for the next 2-3 days. So what will be the reason, Felix, for people going to the villages? I know they have to vote, but let's look about advantages and disadvantages and how soon they need to make these decisions.
It's painful that in as much as we are heading into an election, no one is talking about the projection of COVID and how it can grow and all that. Your emphasis has been put on elections, yet there's so much to think about in terms of taking COVID. We went through Christmas period. We asked people, don't go to the villages, don't take this, keep it, save the old ones, and all this thing. No one is talking about that. It's sad, and everyone is running about elections, and yet it's just an event. But later on, we have going to pay for that, and so it's sad. It's sad, but well, people make choices we don't have much control about.
Definitely, people, many of them are registered voters, and their polling stations are in their villages, so they do not want to miss out on the opportunity to ensure they cast your vote. But just a reminder for those moving, ensure curfew still remains. So 9 p.m. in case you're planning your movements to the village, remember, for you to avoid inconveniences, curfew might not get you. So if you're traveling, just 48 hours remaining, calculate your moves very well so that you're not inconvenienced. Reach a place and it's curfew time. Maybe you end up sleeping in cells.
For your information, by the way, curfew applies in the morning and in the night. So in the morning, what's the curfew time?
At 5.
Exactly. So someone may get onto the road at 4 a.m. and you may get arrested because curfew starts at 5 a.m. So you're supposed to be in your house until 5 a.m. Then you can move to your whatever desired destination. But this morning, we're definitely streaming live on our Facebook page, which is UBC TV. We are also on YouTube. And we are going to be giving you 24 hours coverage on the upcoming general elections for presidential, parliamentary, and every nitty-gritty in there. The hashtag to look out for is UBC UG Polls 2021. And you can also check out our Twitter handle, which is at UBC TV Uganda.
Priscilla, before we move to our next segment or take a break, there's something I want to ask from you. One of the people watching this show, that is Sarah, Naomi, something like that. So yesterday she came in my page and she asked me, does that work for plus size ladies?
What?
That area that if you take away gene, so I asked her, plus size ladies. If ladies of late have developed so much vocabulary that suits, and what is a plus size lady?
I don't want to be unkind, so I will throw it to Felix, because
Felix,
clearly, if you're asking what a plus size is, what are you, Robert?
I'm talking about a plus size lady.
You, what size are you? What size do you think you are? They were asking you because you are the plus size of all of us here. You get. So
okay, is this still a question for Felix?
We can get his opinion, sure.
Okay, Felix.
Our size is undefined. You want me to have, but and you shall deal with the plus size when we come to our newsreel. It will be something we'll talk about immediately. But if you want to talk about size, you don't have to involve Robert. You don't put those two in one sentence.
You're just taking me back in the days of physics where some objects you had to use displacement method.
Thank you. Now you know where you fall, Robert.
Okay, let's return.
This is Good Morning Uganda.